free to download for smart TVs. Well, the afternoon weather forecast for today, very slight chance of any rain, only about a 20% chance, and will warm up today to around 94. Partly cloudy tonight, a low 78. Currently, it's 87. This is your NPR station, KUHF, Houston. News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston.
Welcome to Hello Houston. Coming up this hour, days after the end of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Houston officials say their hosted matches were a success. Now they're making a play to host the Women's World Cup. We'll discuss this and more of today's top headlines. I'm Ernie Manous.
And I'm Deborah Hope. Can North America keep its trade partnership together when two countries are negotiating and the third is being left out? Baker Institute's David Gantz is here to explain what's at stake.
Plus, how do you give kids living with a life-threatening blood disorder the chance to just be kids? We'll share how Camp Cell-A-Bration can make that happen.
And, as always, we want to hear from you. Give us a call or text us at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, by Metro, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Nora Rahm. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is scheduled to meet with President Trump at the White House on Tuesday to discuss the war with Russia, according to a White House official not authorized to speak. Meanwhile, Ukraine launched another wave of drones across Russia overnight, killing at least 6 people. New airstrikes between the U.S. and Iran are affecting energy prices around the world. The U.S. military struck Iran again last night for the 13th consecutive night. Iran says it hit U.S. targets in Bahrain and Jordan. That briefly sent oil prices higher yesterday. Gas prices in the U.S. hit an average of $4.10 for a gallon of regular today. NPR's Hadel Al-Shalchi reports.
Brent crude oil, which is the international standard, jumped over 6% to $100 a barrel. It came after the Iran-backed Yemeni Houthis attacked 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea. The U.S. said last night that it completed a 13th round of strikes in Iran, attacking military command centers, drone storage facilities, and coastal surveillance sites. Iranian state media reported explosions in the southwest of the country, where some of Iran's most sensitive military and maritime areas are. Iran retaliated with its own attacks, targeting U.S. bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. Hadil Al-Shalchi, NPR News, Istanbul.
A temporary 10% tariff on U.S. trading partners around the world expired last night. It was promptly replaced by new tariffs on 60 of them. NPR's Daniel Kurtzleben has more.
Yesterday, the administration announced that it is imposing tariffs of 10 to 12.5% on 59 countries, plus the European Union. The administration said it's because those economies are importing goods made with forced labor. And these are blanket tariffs in a sense. The U.S. Trade Representative has said this covers countries responsible for more than 99% of U.S. imports. Now, all that said, some big categories like energy and a lot of foods are going to be exempted.
NPR's Daniel Kurtzleben. The number of people enrolled in SNAP, the Federal Food Assistance Program, has been falling since July after sweeping changes. NPR's Juliana Kim reports.
SNAP participation dropped by over 4 million people from last July to this April. That's according to the left-leaning Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. It's been particularly drastic in Arizona, where 400,000 fewer people receive the food benefits. St. Mary's Food Bank, which operates across the state, is distributing more food than ever, according to its president, Milt Liu.
Because at the end of the day, these kinds of increases can't be supported by just food banks.
The USDA says the decline in SNAP enrollment isn't representative of any one policy, but it does come as the program undergoes major changes, from expanded work requirements to reduced federal funding. Juliana Kim, NPR News.
This is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Shelby Rose. Happening now, U.S. Representative Sylvia Garcia is hosting a congressional forum in Houston looking at the use of force policy ICE agents have to follow. This is in response to the fatal ICE shooting earlier this month that killed Lorenzo Salgado Araujo in East Houston. 2 representatives from other states will join Garcia as multiple federal, state, and local investigations into the shooting play out. Meanwhile, parents who lost children in the deadly Camp Mystic flood will now have a formal role in the camp's bankruptcy case. Texas Public Radio's Corey Cook reports.
13 parents whose children died in the July 4th, 2025 flooding have been appointed to the Unsecured Creditors Committee in Camp Mystic's Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The committee represents creditors whose claims aren't backed by collateral. It can investigate the camp's finances, help develop a restructuring plan, and weigh whether assets should be sold to repay creditors. Most of the parents have also filed wrongful death lawsuits accusing Camp Mystic and members of the Eastland family of negligence. Those civil cases were put on hold after the camp sought bankruptcy protection and are now being handled through the federal bankruptcy process. I'm Corey Cook in San Antonio.
And a shoplifting call turned deadly last night after 2 suspects were hit and killed attempting to cross Highway 59. According to Houston police, the call came in on Westheimer around 9:15. Officers located a suspect vehicle, but it didn't stop, prompting a chase. Assistant Chief James Bryant says that chase took officers to 59 northbound at the 45 interchange, and 4 women fled on foot once their car got into a minor crash.
As they started crossing the southbound lanes, 2 of the occupants were struck by oncoming traffic, and unfortunately, those 2 females were pronounced deceased at the scene.
And the other 2 are now in police custody. Plus, according to a new poll from UT Austin's Texas Politics Project, most Texans oppose new data centers. Only 29% of Texans support the construction of data centers in their community. 56% are opposed, the report said. Republican men were one of the only subgroups that showed support for these projects. I'm Shelby Rose, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include DuckDuckGo, who believes AI should be optional and who've been building privacy tools for 15 years. They now offer Duck.ai, where users can chat privately with AI. Duck.ai. This is NPR.
From Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Hello Houston.
Good morning, Houston. Ernie Manous here with you. It seems almost funny to say good morning when it's 11, but it's still before noon, and I can't say good before noon, everybody. With me, joining me today in the special guest host chair, one of our favorites. She is a well-recognized actor in our community and beyond, having been in film and television and right here on the stage. Deborah Hope is back with us. Hello, Deborah.
Hello, Ernie. So good to be back.
You know, what we didn't talk about last time you were on the show that makes me kind of laugh a little bit is the whole thing. You were in an episode of Texas Walker Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Walker Ranger. Yeah,
yes.
I got it right. And the funny story you told me was about the residuals you get from that. And it's like every few months you'll get a few cents or something. What is it?
The one that I just got last week was for, I think it was for $7.52. And I save them up until I have at least $50. And sometimes that'll take a year. And then I'll deposit them after
I just think residuals is such a funny thing. And today's
I still get a residual for a commercial that I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's $2. Yeah.
Big money's coming in now for you. Do you see that it's more difficult today with, like a lot of people say, there's many more opportunities for performers, especially in the electronic field of it all. You know, I'm talking about broadcast and all as opposed to movies, because there's so many streaming services and so much need for content, and we consume it at such a high rate because we binge things and go through them so much more quickly. Is it a better time for actors, do you think, in that arena? Or because there's so much, the salaries are so much lower, the residuals are a whole different ball game, is it harder? Which way do you think
it's funny because there's 2 separate things that are going on. Yes, there's more opportunity because now you have anime, you have voiceover work, which the voiceover work is a cottage industry unto itself. Which a lot of people are making a lot of money doing a lot of good things with that. So more opportunity. But I'm also in the category that I'm an older actress, so I don't get as much opportunity.
Mature.
I'm a mature. Well, I wouldn't say mature. I would just say older.
Yeah, I misspoke there.
So it's sort of a double-edged sword. I have not broken into the voiceover world, anime world yet, and I'm trying to talk to my granddaughter to see if she'll let me into hers, who's making bank. Yes.
Yeah. It's very funny. I did some anime for a while there, and the friend of mine who was a director who brought me in to do those had said to me, "Oh my God, you have the voice of a young hero. I see that in anime, that young, yeah." So they brought me in, and every role I got was old man. And I'm like, so it was all like, "Tell me of your time with Gilgamesh." And I'm like, really? All of this be the young hero? And then they gave me these bit parts. But I will tell you, it's fun to do. I'm happy I had that period doing them. Yeah. But, it's just silly fun for me. I know people do work and make careers out of it.
Oh, yeah.
My whole thing was give me just one character that when I retire, they'll want me to go to like comic shows and I can sign autographs because you were that one guy.
And I wonder if that's okay, because I think of Flo, who has this 30-year career being one thing.
Yeah.
And does she get upset that, well, I can't branch out? I can't do, every once in a while
she's
does
done other work.
a little bit, but that's her bread and butter. And she makes bank. But is that fulfilling you? Is that fulfilling your...
Making bank helps fill a lot of emptiness in a lot of people's lives. Speaking of making bank, if you have been fortunate enough to make bank, how about sharing some of that with Houston Public Media? Right now we are in the last day of our Resiliency Fund, trying to close the gap of the federal funds that were taken away last year. We lost $2.2 million for 2 years, so $4.4 million. I'm happy to say we've crossed the $4 million point. I think we've only got about, what did they say, 6% to go?
6%.
So we're very close, and we could use your help. And to encourage you to join us right now to support public media, we're back in a triple match, my friends. So $1 that you share with us becomes $3 to our organization to continue to bring you the news, the information, hopefully a little entertainment, and to make you a better citizen in our community. All you have to do is make that gift right now. You can do it in any amount that feels good for you, and it will be worth triple to us. Being that this is our last day, this is your last chance. If you have been waiting, stop waiting. Do it now. I promise you, Deborah and I are not going to say anything that's going to change your life in the next couple minutes, so you have time to do it. You can
or
also
maybe we
call
will
us.
if you give the donation.
But once we get your donation, we'll give you the secrets to life.
Yes.
Give us a call, 888-909-0887, or, as I mentioned, HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate. Be as generous as you can be, because every dollar will get tripled. And that's really important right now. You may think, well, how does my money get tripled? A group of folks have put together a fund to say, listen, if you can encourage people in your community to give, we think it's worth matching it twice over. So it's not that we just have this money. We need you to activate it. So please activate it now. Get us to that goal. One more time, HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate, or call 888-909-0887. Show how much you love this show and make a go at it. Thank you very much. Anyway, that was my duty to get that done.
That was good. Do it.
Thank you. We have a very busy show today. We're going to be, I don't know if you all heard, Donald Trump put new tariffs on everyone. So we're going to be taking a look at tariffs. We're going to be taking a look at the USMCA, which is the trade agreement we have between Canada, us, and Mexico. But Canada's not at the table. We're going to find out what's going on there and how they're going to have these talks without everyone at play. Sickle cell anemia, horrible thing to have to deal with in your daily life. But the wonderful thing is there's a camp out there for kids to give them the experience that everyone has. We're going to be talking about Camp Cell-A-Bration. That's coming up. And what else have we got? We're going to take a look over what's going on at Texas Southern University. They have a new CFO who's getting them back on the right track. He's going to share with us how he's going to do that. And last but not least, last-minute plans. I want to know what you got planned for the weekend. Start sending that to us right now at talk@hellohouston.org. Tell us something you're going to, something you've heard about that you think people should know about, or even something you may be hosting that's open to everyone so that people know about your event. This is your moment, but you got to get involved and share them with us. We'll be taking your calls, and we'll be reading your emails and texts later in the show. Again, 713-440-8870. It's hard during campaign because we have the campaign number
back and forth.
our number.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I bet if you called our number and wanted to make a pledge, we would funnel you to the right people. So don't let that stop you. All right.
Especially if you say it's going to be triple.
Yes, triple.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for the next 2 hours. Don't wait. Do it now. Okay. Every day we like to start with the headlines. And Deborah, take us in.
All right. Days after the end of the 2026 FIFA World Cup for men's soccer teams, Houston officials said they're hosting that they're hosting the 7 matches was a major success. Now they're moving forward with bidding to host the Women's World Cup. Woohoo! Ryan Walsh, CEO of the Harris County Houston Sports Authority, told Houston Public Media on Wednesday, quote, "We will make a formal bid to FIFA along with a couple of others and present why we think Houston should be selected as a host city for the Women's World Cup in 2031. The 2027 Women's World Cup will be hosted in Brazil from June 24th to July 25th, 2027. FIFA is expected to announce the host countries for the 2031 tournament in the coming months, but thus far only one bid has been submitted, a joint submission from the United States, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Jamaica. Houston's bid to host is not necessarily groundbreaking. In the aforementioned countries' bid to host the Women's World Cup, Houston's NRG Stadium and Shell Energy Stadium were named as potential sites for matches. But Walsh's confirmation signals the city's wish to replicate the successes in hosting the Men's World Cup this year. So what are your thoughts on the Women's World Cup? Should we bring it on, or are you FIFA'd out?
713-440-8870. We would love to hear what you think about this. I'm going to tell you, you know what? For somebody who's not much of a sports fan, and often it's like, I don't know what's going on around here with all of that. And then, they bring these events and the traffic and the congestion. I think they did a yeoman's job with this World Cup. I never felt a negative impact. I'm sure there's people who lived closer to the stadiums, but I pass by where the fan zone was every day to and from the office, and I thought it was handled brilliantly, and so I'm all in. Bring us the Women's World Cup. I'm all for it. I think it's great for the city. I think it did wonderful things. I never felt like there wasn't enough ranch dressing to go around for everyone because they were taking it out in barrels. So I felt like we sustained the biggest issue we could have had. Bring it. I'm all for it.
I'm all for it, too. And not only that, but what the other countries, people who visited our city, what they said about their experience here was all positive, everything that I heard. Yeah. So I was very impressed with everything that they did. And yes, Women's World Cup. Yes, please bring it here.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I'm all for bringing World Cup back again. Yeah. I will tell you, when I felt more, I'm trying to pick the right word, not inconvenience, but more clutter when the Super Bowl is here. I feel more things are in the way. I thought the FIFA folks did a great job, or at least the host committee here in Houston did a great job at streamlining it so it could happen. And we had so many visitors from all over the world, and it was a great place a great showcase for our city. I think we shined, and I'm all for it.
Oh, I am too. I'm very proud of what we did, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And making a big deal about the Women's World Cup.
And it's cool too. Yeah.
Yes.
713-440-8870. What do you think? Chris from Cyprus is on the line. Chris, what do you think?
I think Houston has a really good shot of it. I do want to say that the accommodations and the fanfare was excellent. You can't beat free, and it was very family friendly. Yeah. And one of the things that I think is a big factor for Texas, with the AT&T Stadium and the Houston Stadium are both enclosed, and the heat was just unbearable for some of the players. Yeah. So the air quality and the heat, and those being enclosed stadiums, plus the higher seat capacity. I think they, looking at the dollar signs, and, if the ticket prices are going for, $3,000 a seat, that's only the least on the table. So I think Houston is really very diverse and very welcoming, and I think we got a good run of it.
Chris, thank you for calling and sharing with us. I think we're on the same page there. If you have an opinion you want to share with us, give us a call right now, 713-440-8870. Yeah, the heat is a difficult thing to overcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got a few years. They can figure out this whole heat problem, don't you think?
Aren't we doing that purposely? Didn't somebody say we're making it hotter on purpose?
On purpose? Why would we want to make it hotter? I don't know. Anyway, let us know what you think. Would you be up for it? I also think, too, and this is kind of controversial to say, ticket prices traditionally for the women's league of things tend to be a little lower. I think the access would be a little easier, and I think that would be great because I think we are also, as an audience, a body of spectators, are much more inviting of women's sports now, too. I think they show themselves to be just as exciting as men's sports. For a long time, they used to say it was like the side leagues, but I think they've really stood up and said, no, we have an audience out there. We've got talented players. Come watch us play.
I think it's also a matter of who are you showing, who are you showcasing? Mm-hmm. And men's sports always get showcased, and women's sports, it's how you're dealing with it. It's not that it's less exciting or it's not as good or people don't like it as much. How much attention are you putting on it? I want one day for when they say the Women's World Cup is coming here that somebody doesn't have to say, and it'll be easier to get tickets and traffic will be better because it's
so
women.
Basically you don't want me to talk.
I want you to talk, but I want you to recognize how hard it is to kind of break that.
That's why I want them to bring it here. I think we
want
can
them to bring
because
it here.
I think we're the kind of city that's going to embrace it. And
yes.
I think you're going to see. And I think there's even more excitement to that idea too now. That it's like, okay. And I think we as Americans, we want to discover things in a way. And so World Cup's a big deal. Men's World Cup is huge globally.
Right.
Wow, we could make Women's World Cup the same thing, kind of.
And make
mentality.
stars out of the Mia Hamms of the sport.
Yeah.
So
anyway, let us know what you think. 713-440-8870. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Got a story for me on that one?
Yes, I do. Okay. Before we get to talking about it, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey launched with an estimated $124.5 million in domestic ticket sales and another $139.6 million from overseas, notching an even better debut than Oppenheimer and marking the filmmaker's best opening since 2012's The Dark Knight Rises. Nolan flexed his singular box office might with a global debut unlike any other. Few filmmakers alive could pull off a starry, big-budget adaptation of Homer's epic poem. But in a Hollywood where intellectual property rights rule most hits, Nolan turned one of the world's oldest works of literature into an unlikely summer blockbuster. The Universal production was no small gamble on Nolan, coming off the 2023 Best Picture winning Oppenheimer. With a production budget of $250 million, it's among the most expensive R-rated movies ever made. Universal is spending some $125 million to market it. But no behind-the-camera name turns out audiences more than Nolan's. So great was the hype on The Odyssey that IMAX put tickets on sale for some 70 millimeter showtimes a full year in advance. To satisfy the extraordinary demand for Nolan's preferred format, IMAX 70 millimeter, some theaters added midnight and 3 a.m. screenings and sold them out. So what did you think? Did you see The Odyssey? Call or text 713-440-8870. Tell us what you think. I loved it.
I knew you did. And I have not loved it as much as you may have loved it. Quickly, I think that I will say it's a very hard story to tell. And I think that's what's always been the problem of bringing it to the screen. It's so massive and it's so many different stories. And the people that heard it in the time they heard it and shared it knew of who all the characters were around it. And so it was an easier story to tell. And today you have to have some sort of literary knowledge, I think, to really fully get
having how many 800 years of this literary knowledge is not enough? Is that what you're saying?
And 3,000 years.
Or 3,000 years, 800.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't think your average moviegoer, not to say that matters, I just think that's part of the challenge of telling it. But I felt, and this is the one question I want to ask you. I know we're tight on time here, so I'm going to ask you quickly. But for me, the issue I had with the film was I never felt I got the great actor moment. I felt the way it was cut back and forth between characters, I never felt that there was that moment where the characters went into a scene together and gave me a wonderful actor scene. Nothing against the special effects, nothing against the scope of the film, nothing against, but I thought it was close-up of you say a line, close-up of you say a line, close-up of you say a line, back and forth. And so I never felt I saw two actors into it, playing the game of acting, sparring beautifully on screen. I missed that element.
I disagree with you. I think that the acting moments, maybe you didn't have the here's your scene and it's going to be this 10-minute scene between you and it's going to win all the Oscars. It's such a collaborative movie, and it's such a ensemble movie that I think that except for Matt Damon, I don't think anybody really needed to have that one moment.
I thought Anne Hathaway, though, did have it. I thought she was the one that held
So you
me.
just disagreed with your own argument?
Well,
Is
I
that what
thought
you're telling me?
her moment, I think it was cut poorly, too. I think she switched emotion way too fast, but that was an editor's problem. But I thought she was the one who was bringing something acting to it, but I don't think she was ever given anyone really to act with in it.
Oh, my goodness. All
right, they're telling me we have to wrap, and I'm so happy I can wrap before you disagree.
I disagree. I disagree.
We have a lot more of Hello Houston still to come. Coming up next, we're going to learn all about trade and the international economy. Coming up right here on Hello Houston. Don't go anywhere.
Meet Dio Choco. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. This is his story. Visit ridemetro.org/Choco to find out where is Choco.
Watcher, or both, your ongoing donations of at least $5 per month qualify for PBS Passport. Make your gift now to start watching at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
I know how to load it into the oven and inject it with steam, and I know when to take it out when it's a perfect caramel golden brown. I know how to take the bread and load it onto a wire rack, where the packers will take each loaf and they will slip it into a brown paper bag with a red stripe on the side.
Join us for more true stories told live. Next time, fun stories that make you feel good. That's on the Moth Radio Hour from PRX.
You can hear that tomorrow. It's on at noon.
Support comes from the Museum of Fine Arts Houston. Picasso's Cubism, Klay's abstraction, and Matisse's playful vision arrived from Germany in Masterpieces from the Museum Berggruen, now on view. Exhibit details at mfah.org.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from listeners like you and from Baylor College of Medicine. With over 125 years of innovation behind it, Baylor has driven progress in health and medicine through research, education, and care that push the frontiers of modern science.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Alley Theater, celebrating its 80th season with classics, new works, and audience favorites, including Romeo and Juliet and A Christmas Carol. Season information and tickets at alleytheater.org.
Houston Public Media is a service of the University of Houston and is supported with your gifts to the Houston Public Media Foundation. More information available online at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Ernie Manous and guest host Deborah Hope.
The U.S. and Mexico are back at the negotiating table, kicking off another round of talks to revise the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, the trade pact between the three countries that recently expired. But Canada isn't part of the renewed negotiations. Talks come just after the Trump administration is imposing new tariffs on nearly $20 billion worth of Canadian goods, adding even more tension between America and its trade allies. So, what does all of this mean for the future of the USMCA, and what could it mean for businesses and consumers? Joining us to help break it all down is David Gantz, the Will Clayton Fellow in Trade and International Economics at Rice University's Baker Institute for Public Policy. David, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. I wanted to start with the topic we talked about, but if I'm not mistaken, in this time between booking you and now, Donald Trump went and put tariffs on everybody. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't think there are too many exceptions. I mean, you mentioned two of them a moment ago, his negotiations with Mexico and also with Canada on the USMCA, and the threat of high tariffs on about $20 billion worth of Canadian goods. But he also imposed, as of midnight last night, 10 or 12.5% tariffs on 60 other countries.
Is this going to make the USMCA conversation different now, or is this actually a good place for them to walk to the table with?
Well, I don't think there's a lot of change coming immediately with the USMCA leaving aside this 50% threat on Canada, which we can talk about in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get there.
This week was the third formal round of negotiations between the U.S. and Mexico. My understanding is that there are informal negotiations going on bilaterally between the U.S. and Canada. I don't think things are changing rapidly. It's quite clear that USMCA is not going to be renewed this year or next year or 2028 for the 15-year period that's possible. But I think a number of additional issues are likely to be resolved through what U.S. Trade Representative Greer called a series of interim arrangements. And I think many of those will deal with the key issues that are on the table this week with Mexico and the U.S.
Help me with this, and then we'll get into the details of the actual USMCA conversation. But we heard earlier this week that Trump signed an agreement with Saudi Arabia about the nuclear agreement that he signed with them, and then came back with, after it was signed, new restrictions and regulations on it. I bring that up to say, how do any countries negotiate with this administration if you don't know from one moment to the next what will be supported, upheld, agreed to, what will change, when will a tariff hiccup happen, and all of a sudden a statement, a truth will come out where it's all of a sudden shifted? Is there any way to truly negotiate in this world, or is all of that just smoke and mirrors on the top, and on the next level down, the work is actually happening?
Well, I think it's quite clear that regardless of what you negotiate, whether you're Canada or Saudi Arabia or Mexico or somebody else, any agreement is not really worth the paper it's written on, if it's written on paper at all, because the administration constantly creates chaos. It changes its policies, if not from day to day, from week to week. So even if you got, as you saw, Saudi Arabia, we're going to do a nuclear deal with them. 3 days later, they say, well, it's conditional on your recognizing Israel, which is totally against Saudi policy. They won't recognize Israel unless something is done with Gaza and the Palestinians. So, it's an empty promise at this stage. I can't imagine that the Saudis are going to repudiate 30 years of pressure of trying to help the Palestinians. So I think that's a very good example that you brought up. And whatever else happens, whether it's with Saudi Arabia or Canada or Mexico or 50 other countries, you can't really depend that it's going to be complied with. And that, let's suppose in an ideal world, there had been an agreement to extend USMCA for 15 years. Nothing would have prevented Trump next month from saying, well, we want this additional thing from Canada, this additional thing from Mexico, and we're changing our rules on autos, shall we say, or steel or aluminum or something else. So I think your point is very well taken. There is no certainty in negotiating with the U.S., but with all of these countries who depend so heavily on the U.S. market, particularly Mexico and Canada, 80% each, they pretty much have to grin and bear it, at least to a certain extent. Mexico, I think, more than Canada, but it's an ongoing problem. It's been that way since January of last year.
We are speaking with David Gantz, who is from the Baker Institute, talking about trade and international tariffs and the USMCA. If you'd like to join the conversation or have a question, give us a call at 713-440-8870. With what you just said and what we've just been discussing, take me inside how you structure these talks between the U.S. and Mexico and figuratively Canada when you don't know what you can trust. So how do you have negotiations? What does it seem like? How does it play out in real life?
Well, for Mexico, I think that there's been a great deal of consistency. They want lower tariffs on steel and aluminum and copper and derivative products, which are currently 25 to 50%. And I don't think anyone in Mexico expects that they're going to get any or all of that right away, but they may get little pieces of it. And if you get little pieces, and if that lasts for a while, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, that's a benefit to Mexican exporters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think basically that's the best you could do. You could hope that for example, in the case of Mexico, you will get lower tariffs on these items. And of course, you're going to have to give up something in return, probably agreeing that for Mexican autos to go into the U.S. at reduced tariffs, they'll have to have 50% of U.S. content. I mean, that's what's been proposed. So it will be, I think it's going to be piece by piece. And I think Greer really confirmed this when he talked about interim arrangements. And I could see half a dozen or more of those. One on auto rules of origin, one perhaps on the steel and aluminum and copper tariffs, another one on the overriding issue of Chinese goods being transshipped through Mexico into the U.S. to avoid tariffs on China. Probably some other issues as well. There are overriding concerns in the U.S. about high trade deficits between China and the U.S., Mexico and the U.S., Canada and the U.S. In my view, nothing that they're doing right now is going to change that, and clearly those deficits have not decreased over the last year. But I think it may vary somewhat between which issue is at the top of the list this week between the U.S. and Mexico or the U.S. and Canada. But I think there will be a continuing process of negotiations of one kind or another, mostly with these same issues, but probably some new ones as well.
Looking to the north, without Canada involved, does the USMCA just become the USM?
Well, there's obviously been some talk and some threats about having bilateral agreements, but this is very much opposed by most business people in all three countries, and it makes very little sense, particularly in the auto and auto parts sector, which has been totally integrated among the three countries over the last 30-plus years. I mean, there are obviously some issues that are bilateral. Dairy products don't affect Mexico at all, but they do affect Canada. This Chinese transshipment issue doesn't really affect Canada much at all, but it's a big problem between the U.S. and Mexico. So in the past, there have been very significant bilateral discussions as well, even though we ended up with a trilateral agreement. Last time, in 2018, the negotiations between Canada and Mexico were finished in September, and Canada was essentially said, take it or leave it, minor changes, and they agreed to it by the end of October. So the idea of splitting them by the U.S. is nothing really new.
Yeah. So I guess I'm also concerned with the way I don't know if it's anything new, but the way it finally flared up in the break between the U.S. and Canada in just what felt very much like a whim from the president has this massive impact. Is there any thawing on that front?
Well, you're referring to the threats at the beginning of this week of 50% tariffs on about $20 billion worth of Mexican exports to the U.S., which, to keep it in context, is about 5% of total Canadian exports. So it's not huge in terms of overall trade volume. And the U.S. is upset about milk restrictions in Canada. It's upset about Canadian tariffs on autos imposed in retaliation for U.S. tariffs. It is very unhappy that Canadian provincial liquor stores do not have any wine or distilled spirits from the U.S. on their shelves. I can confirm that. I'm in Ontario. I was in a liquor store last week. You could not find a bottle anywhere of a product that's made in the U.S.
Yeah. Let me, though, just stay on this for one more second, too. When a statement like that is made by the president, where it just seemed to come out of left field and he said it, is that a policy that you believe behind the scenes was being thought out and planned, or are these just knee-jerk reactions?
I wouldn't argue that much of this tariff policy most of it has been planned. I think a lot of it is a knee-jerk reaction. I think one can look at this last Canadian activity and say, well, it may go forward, it may not go forward, it may be just a negotiating tactic, but some things are planned. And basically, when the Supreme Court held that the IEEPA, the reciprocal tariffs, were unconstitutional back in February, the U.S. immediately went to a different section for 10% tariffs. Those 10% tariffs expired at midnight last night. At 12:01 p.m., they imposed these new 301 tariffs. So that was planned. Clearly, that whole system is planned. They're hoping, of course, that these new tariffs will be less likely to be overruled by the courts. So you can't say that none of this is planned. But certainly the action with Canada on Monday does not seem to have had a lot of serious planning behind it.
Okay, so take it home for everybody listening right now. What does this mean to our pocketbooks? We often hear differing opinions of who pays for tariffs. We know it changes the prices here in this country. That's who's paying for these. But how will this affect pocketbooks?
Well, in most cases, we can get to Mexico and Canada, but in most cases, 10% has been in effect for most countries for 150 days. So continuing 10% or even 12.5%, I don't think makes a lot of changes in the costs to U.S. importers and consumers, who, of course, end up paying 60, 70, 80% of the total additional tariffs. A nice gift to the U.S. Treasury Department. It's inflationary, obviously, in some areas. You're seeing more impact, I think, on grocery bills. You're thinking a lot of impact on the cost of new cars or pretty much anything in the U.S. that is made with steel or aluminum. But I think we have to keep in mind that the major inflationary effects are not just trade. You have this war with Iran. And it's not only the cost of gasoline. I mean, it's less in Houston than in most other parts of the country. $4 a gallon or more. It's the fact that diesel fuel has gone up very substantially, and everything you buy in the grocery store, in the appliance store, is delivered by a truck or a train or a boat, and their costs have all gone up, and they're going to pass it on to us as consumers. So it's highly inflationary. Breaking it down between these different issues, I think, is something that's beyond my economic background. But I think it's clearly there, and I think unless you really believe that the Iran war is going to be resolved in the next few weeks, which I don't, you're going to have high gasoline, high fuel prices, high delivery prices for pretty much everything American consumers use, at least for the next few months and probably for a good deal longer. And whether these tariffs continue to be partly absorbed by some U.S. importers and manufacturers or eventually passed on more to consumers because the producers can't afford to absorb the cost is something I just don't know, and I think it's very hard to estimate. I mean, the auto industry has managed to keep its prices reasonably low despite much higher costs, both for manufacturing and for imported parts and components. Other industries, particularly smaller guys, don't have the kind of backing that you have if you're Chrysler or General Motors, Stellantis or General Motors or Ford, and therefore there's only a limited period of time where you can absorb the costs. You're either going to have to increase your prices and hope you don't go out of business.
Yeah. Well, David, thank you very much for sharing with us and helping to walk us through what is a very complicated situation and interesting to watch how it's going to shift and change. I hope you'll come back and walk us through it as it shifts and changes, because I'm sure it will.
I'd be happy to. My pleasure.
David Gantz is the Will Clayton Fellow in Trade and International Economics at Rice University's Baker Institute for Public Policy. Coming up, how a local camp helps kids affected with sickle cell. Stay with us as Hello Houston continues. We are in our on-air Resiliency Fund campaign, and today is the final day. If you've been putting it off, well, this is it. We're coming to the end. And here's the great news. Even if you've waited until this moment, this is really a great moment and a great opportunity for your gift right now because it will be tripled. Choose any amount to show your support right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or by calling 888-909-0887, and it will be tripled. I'm Ernie Manous.
And I'm Deborah Hope. This triple hour comes at a critical moment. Losing $2.2 million in federal funding means we're relying entirely on our community to help close that gap. A gift of $100 turns into $300. Maybe you can do $500. That turns into $1,500. $20 a month instantly has 3 times the impact for Houston Public Media. Every gift goes 3 times as far right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
You know, Houston has grown up with public media. John, a Houston Public Media listener, has been living in Houston since 1990. He grew up with Houston Public Media. Later, NPR News became part of his daily commute. He says journalists present accurate, fact-based news that listeners decide for themselves when getting this information. If that public service matters to you, don't wait. Give right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or by calling 888-909-0887.
Right now, your donation will be tripled. We're getting to the end of this on-air fundraiser at the end of tripled, so don't wait.
Yes, this is the final stretch of this fundraiser, and it's exciting. We're getting closer and closer to our campaign goal, but we want you to be the one that takes us over the line. You can help. Everything that you value at Houston Public Media needs your support. Take part right now, one of the most significant campaigns we've had, and your gift will be tripled. Go to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
Meet Gamola, songwriter, world-class violinist, and award-winning multi-genre artist. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. Visit ridemetro.org/Gamola to learn more about his ride.
May lead. Estate of D. Bradley McWilliams. Estate of Billy Winkleman. The Wortham Foundation. Estate of Dr. James Young. Thank you.
Have online interactions changed the way we behave offline? This week on It's Been a Minute, I'm getting into how social media has turned us into antisocial messes.
And on Wildcard, actor Tracy Ellis Ross on the importance of presentation.
Like, I really like alcohol, mostly because I like stemware. It's like a high heel and a glass.
That's on Wildcard, and It's Been a Minute from NPR.
You can hear that Saturday at 6 p.m.
Next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour, a Democrat and a Republican in Congress on how the immigration crackdown is changing America.
They're going to see vast swaths of our workforce disappear. They're going to see our economy contract.
Mr. President, you got to change the way when it comes to immigration. Otherwise, we're not going to have a Republican Party.
That's next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour.
You can listen to that tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Chariot Energy, offering customers electricity plans that match their energy use schedules and lifestyles. All plans come with 100% renewable energy. Details at chariotenergy.com.
Support comes from the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Herman Park, featuring exhibits on dinosaurs, butterflies, stars, and ancient cultures, along with the Burke Baker Planetarium and Cockrell Butterfly Center. More at hmns.org.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Ernie Manous and guest host Deborah Hope.
Hi. Sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder that affects hemoglobin, the major protein that carries oxygen in red blood cells. For children living with sickle cell disease, they can suffer from strokes, jaundice, pain crisis, as well as chronic blood transfusions and surgeries, making it difficult for them to experience a normal childhood. Camp Cell-A-Bration is a week-long camp organized by the Sickle Cell Association of Texas MTF that allows kids age 6 to 14 who are living with sickle cell disease to enjoy a camp experience despite the life-threatening disease they deal with every day. To tell us more about the camp, we're joined by Gabby Torres, the Bilingual Client Outreach Specialist at the Sickle Cell Association of Texas, MTF. Gabby, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you for having me. Hello, Houston.
Hello. If you want to join the conversation or you have questions for Gabby, give us a call at 713-440-8870. To help people understand a little more clearly the challenges faced in an everyday life for young people with sickle cell.
Yes, so they face many challenges. One of them is the pain crisis they have, not being understood sometimes at the hospitals, right? And just not feeling like they fit in. And they're, as a kid growing up, missing school days, feeling like they can't do certain activities also takes a toll on them.
Yeah. So the flip side of that is the power of feeling like you fit in, that you're not excluded because of a condition you have, but that you're one as everyone else.
Correct. And that's what our Camp Cell-A-Bration is about for our kids.
So how do you achieve that?
So we achieve this by bringing our kids ages 6 to 14 to a camp where they are they're not seen differently from any other kid. We make them feel welcome. We don't allow them to feel limited by what this disease is, and just give them the love and understanding that they are welcome with other peers just like them.
Yeah. What have you seen story-wise of a child that you see that light go on in their eyes when they're at the camp, where they realize life can be different, and this is the kind of experience I deserve?
Absolutely. So I want to share, I myself also went to camp. I am also a warrior. I went to camp as a child. And what I can say is those memories always stay with them. Seeing the smiles on their face and being able to know that I am not alone in this is worth so much.
Are there things that these kids, can they even go to a regular camp? Is it, and I say regular camp, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Is it something where they're limited? I think of the Special Olympics where they say that they're not disabled, they're differently abled. They can do everything, we just have to modify. Is that something that you offer there? How does that, as far as activities for them?
Well, our camps are basically, they're prepared by medical staff. We have professional staffs on site. We have nurse practitioners. We have doctors there and caring volunteers. So they know how to treat in the case it were to be needed. So that is something that makes our camps different. Another thing is we always encourage our kids to try different activities. Some of them say, I can't do this. No, you can't. That's what our volunteers are there for, our counselors, is to push those kids. Yes, you can. Give it a try.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I love the idea. It's that you give a week to these kids to simply be kids.
Absolutely.
The power in that alone.
Yes, it means a lot. Just be a kid, forget about what you have gone through, those pain crises, and just enjoy yourself.
Is it something where when the kids go through it and you say up to 14, do any of them come back to be counselors in the school, or do they go on to?
Oh my God, yes. We have so many in our foundation that come back and serve the community. I'm one of them. I have other two colleagues that are also sickle cell warriors that also went to camp. So we see them come out and supporting this organization.
I love that you call yourself warriors, too.
Yes. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the hosting organization that comes together to put on this camp.
Yes, so Mark Thomas Foundation is a nonprofit organization. It was founded by Mark Thomas, who also lived with sickle cell disease. He did pass, unfortunately, at the age of 46 from complications. His wife, which is our former president, CEO, continued his mission by supporting our community And it's been nearly 30 years that she's been advocating and supporting us.
Yeah. So tell me, what other work do you folks do throughout the year?
Oh, yeah. So just to name a few, there's a lot.
Busy.
I'm sorry. Yes. We do many events. We do our Walk for Sickle Cell. We'll be having one September 5th at our Fondé Park. We also have Empowerment Conference where we have speakers going, doctors, and also talking about gene therapy, what treatments are out there for those that qualify. We also have our Christmas holiday gifts, or Christmas holiday for our kids, letting them know that there is hope. As well, we also have our SOS groups for our sickle cell families where they can join virtually, ask questions, open discussions. We have doctors there. And also we go to many events where we raise awareness of what is sickle cell.
Well, Gabby, thank you so much for the work you're doing for sharing that with us here. If people want to find out more, where can they go?
Yes, for more information, please go to sicklecelltexas.org.
Easy enough. Sicklecelltexas.org. Gabby,
right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Gabby Torres is the Bilingual Client Outreach Specialist at the Sickle Cell Association of Texas, MTF. Coming up, we're going to discuss more of today's top headlines, and we're going to talk with the new Chief Financial Officer at Texas Southern University. This is Hello Houston. Don't go anywhere. We are in the final day of our on-air Resiliency Fund campaign, and your donation right now will be, ready for it, tripled. Do even more at a time when Houston Public Media really needs your help. We're in our first year without federal funding. That means we need to maintain stronger community support. That means 100% of what we raise comes from our own community. This is triple time. It's going to help you out. This triple opportunity is going to mean more dollars to Houston Public Media. Get your gift tripled right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-9090-887. I'm Ernie Manous.
And I'm Deborah Hope. We need to hear from you today. Today is the final day of this on-air campaign, and it's so important that we finish strong. Show your financial support right and get your donation tripled at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
Now, you may not have heard this, but right now your donation will be tripled. Why the urgency? Because we need to hit our goal. We lost this federal funding, and without the federal funding, we can't deliver all the things that you have grown accustomed to. But we can make that up. We've made up almost all of what we lost. We're so close to getting to the end of that line, and right now you can help us reach the goal. If this is the extra boost you need, then here it is. Triple match. That means every dollar you give us is worth $3. It's the work we can do 3 times as much. It's the salaries we can pay to 3 times as many journalists. It's the stories we can tell 3 times as many stories. But you have to give right now to take advantage of this. Don't wait. This will not last. Give now. Give your gift and get it tripled and do 3 times as much to support news for the greater Houston area. Get your gift tripled right now. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-9090-887.
And I want to tell you that public media does more than just entertain a child. It opens a door to new words, to music, to kindness, to a world so much bigger than their living room. Your gift keeps that door open for the next child who's waiting to walk through it. Support all our work at PBS and NPR at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
Should you go online to HoustonPublicMedia.org to donate, while you're there, take a look around. Look at all the other work we do, the reporting that's web only, and also the followation and more information about stories you hear on the air or watch on YouTube. From the website, you can go to our YouTube channel. You can listen live. You can watch live TV TV aid. All of that is made available thanks to your help and donations. So you only have about an hour and 2 minutes left to get your gift tripled. Time is running out right now. Your gift will be, what did I say? Tripled. $30 a month becomes $90 for Houston Public Media for an entire year. Donate $200, and yes, that turns into $600 for strong, important news that's independent, and it's good for our community. Just go to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate to make that gift, and remember, when you make that gift right now, we are tripling it. Why do I keep saying that? Because we've shown over the years that the biggest motivator is to tell you your gift will go further. So right now, make it go as far as possible. We need the help. We need the support. Do it right now. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or by calling 888-909-0887.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
The Houston Public Media Foundation Board proudly stands with our community in supporting the Resiliency Fund. Their leadership and generosity are helping strengthen the future of trusted local journalism. Thank you to our Foundation Board for investing in Houston Public Media.
You can watch Hello Houston on HPM Plus, free to download for smart TVs. Slight chance of a rain shower today, mainly hot, the high getting up to around 95. It's 88, and this is your NPR station, KUHF Houston. News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston.
Just ahead on this hour of Hello Houston, as airstrikes continue in Iran, they've launched retaliatory attacks on U.S. as the region braces itself after the president said he was close to deciding whether to launch a massive attack. We'll discuss this and more as we continue diving into today's top headlines. I'm Ernie Manous.
And I'm Deborah Hope. Can a finance veteran from airports, transit systems, and billion-dollar infrastructure projects help rebuild trust at Texas Southern University? New CFO Jermaine Chubb joins us to share his plan.
Plus, it's Friday, so that could mean only one thing: last-minute plans. We'll share some notable events happening in the area, and we invite you to share yours.
That's right. Give us a call or text us at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, by Metro, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Nora Rahm. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is scheduled to meet with President Trump next week on the war with Russia. A White House official not authorized to speak publicly says he'll visit the White House on Tuesday. The Trump administration has announced double-digit tariffs on dozens of U.S. trading partners. It's also threatening additional tariffs on the United Kingdom. NPR's Lauren Freer reports.
President Trump's ambassador to the United Kingdom, Warren Stevens, told Sky News that if the new British Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, decides to tax big tech, which is mostly American companies, that could trigger more tariffs from Washington. A digital services tax is something the UK has been considering. For now, though, the British government says Trump's latest tariffs will amount to, quote, no negative change for British exports. Burnham's predecessor, Prime Minister Keir Starmer, was able to strike a better U.S. trade deal than many other countries with lower tariff rates. And King Charles got the U.S. tariff on Scotch whiskey reduced to 0 when he visited the White House in April. Lauren Freyer, NPR News, London.
The Justice Department has withdrawn subpoenas that would have forced New York Times reporters to reveal their sources for stories about the jet that Qatar gave to President Trump. A federal judge had questioned the government lawyers, their actions, judgment, and honesty. David McCraw is an attorney for the Times. He says it will not be intimidated.
The stories we're reporting are important. The public needs to know not just what the government wants to tell the public, but what happens behind the scenes. And we are going to continue doing that. The second part is that the government has a way to do this. There is a process. It's spelled out in the law and it's spelled out in the rules that the DOJ has for itself. Asking the government to follow the rules, asking the government to follow the law is not interfering. It is upholding the rule of law.
He was interviewed on NPR. Firefighters are battling several large wildfires in more than a dozen states, mostly in the western U.S., including Oregon, Colorado, and California. They'll be getting some help from Australia. NPR's Kirk Ziegler reports.
The National Interagency Fire Center in Idaho has raised the national preparedness level to 5, the highest, meaning that all U.S. resources are currently deployed to major fires from Oregon to Minnesota. The concern is whether crews would be able to adequately respond if another major wildfire ignites, which in these dry conditions seems inevitable. At the fire center's request, the Australian Rural Fire Service says it will send 26 incident management and specialist bush firefighters from the state of New South Wales. These elite crews are in high demand here in part because federal agencies like the U.S. Forest Service have lost hundreds of career fire managers via DOGE or buyouts since President Trump returned to office. Kirk Ziegler, NPR News, Boise.
This is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Shelby Rose. Now that the system that was Tropical Storm Bertha has left the region, the cool down from it won't last long. It's currently 90 degrees here on the UH campus. National Weather Service meteorologist Brian Kyle says the temperature will slowly rise over the next few days.
It will get more humid, especially as we get into Sunday, and that's when we start seeing some of the more dangerous heat index readings.
He says advisories may be issued next week with the heat index hovering around 108 degrees. Excessive heat warnings are also possible toward the middle of the week. Plus, a sergeant with the Harris County Sheriff's Office is facing multiple charges. That includes family violence, terroristic threats, and unlawful carrying of a weapon. Sergeant Frater Munoz has been relieved of duty pending the outcome of the investigation, which is ongoing. It's unclear what led up to this arrest. And a shoplifting call turned deadly last night after 2 suspects were hit and killed attempting to cross Highway 59. According to Houston police, the call came in on Westheimer around 9:15. Officers located the suspect vehicle, but it didn't stop, prompting a chase. Assistant Chief James Bryant says that chase took officers to 59 northbound at the 45 interchange, and 4 women fled on foot once their car got into a minor crash.
As they started crossing the southbound lanes, 2 of the occupants were struck by oncoming traffic, and unfortunately, those 2 females were pronounced deceased at the scene.
And the other 2 are now in police custody. SpaceX will try again later this afternoon to launch from its South Texas base. Yesterday's launch of Starship was scrubbed because of weather conditions. The attempt before halted because of engine failure, but the company says that some of those engines have been replaced. The 90-minute launch window will open up at 5:45. Also, heads up, the FDA has issued a recall for more than 1.5 million egg cartons with eggs produced right here in Texas. They have a sell-by or best-by dates between July 20th and August 17th and can be found at Kroger, Brookshire, and other smaller retailers. I'm Shelby Rose, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from Progressive Insurance, offering a variety of insurance options from auto and home to boat and RV, with online tools for quotes and claims. Coverage options at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. This is NPR.
Live from Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Hello Houston with Ernie Manous.
Hello, hello. We've made it to the second hour of the show on a Friday, which means in a little bit, last-minute plans. Share yours with us. You can give us a call or text 713-440-8870 or email them to us. That's the things you're doing this weekend. Maybe you have something you're doing, presenting, organizing. Share that with us, too. We want to know what's going on your weekend. I can tell you what's going on for the next hour right here. Actress, bon vivant, Deborah Hope is in with me today, sitting in the guest
Bon
chair.
vivant, I like that.
You like bon vivant?
Yes, I do.
We had a bit of a beginning of what could have been a heated conversation, but we were timed out. Thank you, time gods. But we're going to bring it back.
Okay,
We're talking
all
about
right.
the Odyssey and our takes on it. I had some thoughts on it. If you have thoughts on the Odyssey and you want to share them with us, disagree or agree with me, we welcome both. Or with Deborah. You can disagree with her too.
You won't. You'll disagree with Ernie.
713-440-8870. You actually got a text about this.
Yes, I did, from Rosie Curtis, who said, great job on Ernie's show. So I'm saying that first. He is so wrong about the Odyssey. Hold your ground, Deb.
Okay, so what am I wrong about?
That there weren't, what the acting wasn't what you wanted, that there weren't any moments that were, oh, that's the big scene. That's the
Not
big...
even the big scene. As an actor, would you have been satisfied playing any of these roles, or could anyone really have played any of the roles? Because you delivered the lines and they cut away from you.
So you're saying that there was no emotion behind it? They're just,
I felt it was very much just...
No,
Yeah.
then we need to see the movie together.
I don't know that I have 74 more hours. Oh, wait, it was only 3 hours? It felt a lot
I
longer.
did not feel the hours.
You know, I've
have
heard
to
people say that. I'm not exactly sure about that. I will also say, when you talk about how well it is done at the box office, I'm very happy for that. I'm very happy for the return of the box office dollar. But I think what also aids it is there's not that much else out there at the box office right now. And everyone's been waiting to go see something big as their summer blockbuster, and this one came at the right time.
I don't even know how to respond to this. It doesn't matter if there were any other movies out there. It was a brilliant movie, brilliantly directed, brilliantly acted. As an actor, I will tell you. Brilliant. I don't know what I think you're making up a controversy that it wasn't. We need to see it together. We'll see it together.
You know, if you always want to know what Deborah thinks about all the shows she goes to see, because she goes to a lot of theater besides being in a lot of theater, her and her friend Joel do car takes with Deborah and Joel, or Joel and Deborah?
With Deborah and Joel.
Good,
Joel
top billing.
Yes, top billing. Joel Sandell. Yes, and we we just saw a show last night that I will probably go and see again. This is the last weekend at Stages Theater. With Holland.
Oh, this is the last weekend.
Yeah, I think this is the last weekend.
All right, well, we'll get to that in last minute plan.
Okay.
So which show was it, real quick, though?
Holland Vavra. It's a one-woman
cabaret at Stages.
Yeah, it's brilliant. She is quite the entertainer. I think Joel had called her Houston's
Mitzi Gaynor.
Mitzi Gaynor.
I like
Yes.
that reference, because I wonder how many of you know who Mitzi Gaynor is. If you're watching in YouTube right now, go to the chat with our YouTubers. Tell us, do you know who Mitzi Gaynor is? Or are Deborah and I just a couple of dinosaurs that have been granted another hour on the radio to chat with you? Also, I will say my last thing on the Odyssey, I'm not really sure why it warranted an R rating. I didn't think the violence was that over the top.
No, I didn't either. And there wasn't it was very violent, but it wasn't gory violence.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. And the sex, there's no sex. So I don't know why it was R.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Also, one other thing on it, I said it was my last one. It was shot, the big deal was it was shot in the format in which it's supposed to be shown, which was IMAX, but it's 70 millimeter, and we don't have any theaters in Houston that can play it at that size.
No, we do, because
we have it in IMAX, but not in
I was going to say
70 millimeter IMAX. You have to go to Dallas or other places. So, my British computer guy says, no clue, sorry, no idea who Mitzi Gaynor is.
Oh, no.
You
say that we're dinosaurs. It's actually, you should respect the people who get older, because we have the stories. We have the memories. So don't discount us just because we're older.
I don't know what you're talking about. The word older doesn't ring true for me. You know, if you stick with the show, at the end of the show, we'll tell you who Mitzi Gaynor is. There you go. There's the hook to keep you going. We got a lot still coming on the show today. Texas Southern University has a new CFO. There were some issues, concerns in the past with financing, and he's here to straighten it all out, and he's going to tell us how he's going to do it. But first, as always, we have to go into, you know what, did I mention we're in campaign?
Oh, you did, and you said something about being a triple.
It is. It's a triple match right now. As we get into the news, if you've got an opportunity, please quickly go to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887. This is the last day of our campaign. This is the last hour you can give during Hello Houston. You know, we love to see that. It shows the station you support the show you are listening to or watching. And so we love it if we can get some of those donations coming in during our program. And the best part of it is if you bring it in during this program, your gift will be tripled. So do it right now. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887. Take us into the headlines.
The U.S. Friday continued airstrikes in Iran while Tehran launched retaliatory attacks on U.S. targets in the Gulf as the region braced itself after President Trump said he was close to deciding whether to launch a massive attack. Trump told the Axios news outlet, "I am considering a massive attack, bigger than ever before. I am close to making a decision." The U.S. military later said it conducted its 13th consecutive night of strikes against Iran in attacks aimed at degrading Iran's ability to threaten maritime traffic. The standoff continues over the Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway between Iran and Oman, with Iran asserting its control and the U.S. imposing a blockade on Iranian ports. The conflict on Thursday pushed global benchmark oil prices to over $100 per barrel, their highest level since May. The price eased below $98 a barrel in Friday morning trading. The national average price for regular gasoline in the U.S. also continued to climb to $4.10 per gallon, up by more than 17 cents from a month ago, according to AAA. What are your thoughts on the Iran war? Do you believe the president is making the right moves? Call or text at 713-440-8870.
I have a lot of different thoughts on this. The main one being, I hope to, I say this often, I hope I live long enough to see the definitive books written about this period in time, and that we finally know exactly what is going on behind the scenes. I want to believe a lot of the bluster we hear from the president is bluster for the sake of bluster, that keeping people unsure, jumping back and forth, saying we're doing this, we have an agreement here, we have a ceasefire there, we have a what's the word I'm looking for? Memorandum of understanding, and then we don't hold to it, or they don't hold to it, or they don't agree that they ever signed it. All this stuff, what is actually going on? What happens in the negotiating rooms? As we were talking about when we were talking about the tariffs a little bit ago, do we have a voice that's truly heard at the table because it's a voice of rationality, or is it simply because we have the big military, so they have to entertain whatever the president says, whether it is rooted in thought or not? And so I really don't know. I feel like we're in a place where we don't know what's going on.
Right. And a lot of it, I know with Caroline Levitt, a lot of what she does is say that everything that's on Truth Social is the truth. That is exactly what he's doing. He's being transparent. But these things come out at 3 o'clock in the morning. Right. What is he doing at 3 o'clock in the morning where you all of a sudden have this about face of something he just said 2 days ago? So I don't know how many people are just sycophants who they won't say anything to him because they don't want his wrath. So they do things that he doesn't even know that they're doing. I'm so confused and a little worried about this administration.
I felt like in the first Trump administration that behind the scenes there were enough
rational minds.
I wouldn't even, you could say rational, but I mean career politicians or career statesmen
who know
were
how
still
to
working
negotiate.
a lot of this stuff, and the president would say something, but they had certain agendas and they were working on a certain set of ideals that at the end may accomplish the same thing, but they had a plan in place. I feel this time around a lot of those folks aren't at the table. And so I wonder who is making policy, who is advising the president on policy. We hear this all the time. What is the end goal of all of this? How do you achieve it? We went in there because we didn't want them to have a nuclear warhead. We were already it seemed in the right direction of them not having
We
one.
already had an agreement in
We
place.
had an agreement that I know the Trump administration says was not being honored. but it had been torn up, basically. And then the Straits, it was open for trade for all these years through so many conflicts. And now we're having trouble there. What's that going to change globally, even after this conflict? What does it mean? You get things where they say, they don't want to negotiate. We're not negotiating with them. And then you hear the Iranians say, no, they proposed a ceasefire and we turned it down. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I just don't like the idea that we are losing lives, that people are being harmed over there. Not just our lives. I don't like the idea that war is going on over this. I don't know what was Iran a honored, good regime in the way they treated their people? No. But what is the alternatives there? How are we going to get there, and how are we going to achieve those goals with the current policy that's in play, or the current policy that keeps shifting? I'm just lost in all this.
I think his whole how he negotiates and how he does in his business, he thinks that he can do the same with countries. The countries are like companies.
Right.
And it's very different, and he won't listen to the people who know about that and who have been in the trenches and know how the language should go. So
I saw
one of his
spokespersons on one of those cable news shows, and they were going on, and the host stopped and said, "Please, this is not 4 and 5D chess. This is total random behavior."
Yeah.
And it's like it's easy to couch it in other terms to make it more palatable. But I think the problem also comes. We don't know what's at play. Now, we shouldn't always know, I think, all of the military plans and that there is stuff to be kept. But I don't think that this stuff is being put out there by the president in an attempt to deflect from what's really going on. I think it's knee-jerk stuff. It's hurt feelings. It makes him look bad, so he's going to say this to make him look better. And you don't realize they're shifting entire military plans around these edicts that he truths out.
Yes.
It's very,
these
very
3
concerning.
a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about all this? That was definitely our opinion on it. 713-440-8870. Where am I missing the point? Where maybe I'm overlooking the clever military structuring and dialogue that we don't understand that's going to end up making us safer on this globe of ours that we call home? Let us know. 713-440-8870. We only got a couple minutes left. We had started on the Odyssey. I want to go back to the Odyssey.
Oh, let's go back to the Odyssey.
Let's go back to the Odyssey because Ian from Katy is calling in. I'm scared. Ian, what's
Ian,
on your mind?
You're on my side, right?
Okay. First, let me say that there's been this big backlash from these terminally online young men bashing the Odyssey. You can practically smell the Cheetos dust coming off of their fingers.
I like that when you were saying the backlash from the young men. I'm there with you on that. Continue.
Okay. Now, I am a history professor, and I assign ancient mythology to my students in early world civilizations classes. Mm-hmm. And if they were to try to make an accurate depiction of the Odyssey or pretty much any other ancient Greek myth, it would be NC-17 rated.
I hear you. Go on.
Yeah, and so...
But that was left out, so that's why we're wondering, why was it R-rated?
Yeah, I think they calmed it considerably. Mm-hmm. But I guess my question to you then, in the area that you're coming from, is I think that, and I've said this too in my criticism of the film, it is a very difficult book, collection of stories, whatever you want to call it, to put on the screen. And I will give Nolan credit for condensing it down and being able to tell what he told, how he told. But I think the problem is that it's so massive that it's very hard to give a tight linear retelling of it. What do you think?
Well, it is pretty tough to get a linear retelling just because the Odyssey itself is not just one set of documents.
Right.
It started probably in the early Bronze Age or Iron Age, oral traditions passed down to different regions through different generations. And with each retelling, it gets embellished or they leave stuff out, and they mold it to fit the world they're in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate your sharing with us, Ian, and I thought you were going to attack my point of view on it, but it was pretty calm. Thank you very much, Ian, and keep listening, keep sharing with us. We are interested in what you all think. All opinions are welcomed here. 713-440-8870. Talking about all opinions being welcome, we were talking about the war in Iran, and Joseph is on the line to share with us his thoughts on that. Joseph's calling from Tomball. Joseph, what do you think?
Hello, Ernie.
Hello.
Well, I think it's just a distraction. Gary Kushner is doing business in Saudi Arabia, so that's why he said that, they could do all these uranium and all these things that they're trying to do there. But here at home, I think those tariffs is just a pure distraction of what's really going on with the prices going up. And on top of that, well, the elections are coming. So he has to try to find a way to shift all the information that is truthful out there and he's through social media.
Yeah. Well, thank you for calling, Joseph, and sharing with us. Really quickly, let's also grab Amy from Belleville. Amy, what's on your mind?
Oh, I just wanted to chime in about all your theories, and I thought they were really kind spins on things, but I believe that there's no grand design, that President Trump behaves like an autocrat, that he blows past, all the guardrails and constitutional norms, and he is surrounded by sycophants. And I would much rather talk about the Odyssey in all honesty, but I thought I'd chime in, and I thought you all did a very nice job of covering different angles of what's happening right now.
Amy, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Call back another time. We'll talk Odyssey, okay? Okay. You are listening to Hello Houston. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking at, here's a bunch of letters, TSU's new CFO. How's that? We're going to take a break. Deborah and I will be right back. You're listening to News 88.7.
We know you value Houston Public Media. That's why you're watching right now. So take the next step and become a new member of the station you rely on. Every gift makes a difference. And what matters most right now is supporting the station that brings you the news and information you rely on. It only takes a minute to make a big difference. So join as a new member today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
Houston Matters highlights the people, places, issues, and ideas that define Greater Houston, and we do it live on the air weekday mornings at 9 on News 88.7, but we know you're not always available then to listen, so subscribe to our podcast wherever you get yours, or find each day's program to stream online at your leisure at houstonpublicmedia.org. And reach out with questions or comments anytime. Email us at talk@houstonmatters.org.
Support comes from Chariot Energy, a member of Hanwha Energy USA, a retail electricity provider offering simple, sustainable energy plans to residential and commercial customers. Details and plan options available at chariotenergy.com.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from the Audi International School, where students from PK3 to 12th grade grow in curiosity and courage, preparing them to make their mark on the world. The future's so bright at Audi. More at audi.org.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Central Market's Seafood Department. Fresh shellfish and whole fish from around the world are flown in weekly and filleted in-store by Central Market fishmongers. More at centralmarket.com.
Houston's next big story won't wait. Your gift to Houston Public Media's Resiliency Fund helps replace rescinded federal funding and keeps us ready. Give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Ernie Manous and guest host Deborah Hope.
For years, Texas Southern University has worked to strengthen its financial footing after audits and investigations uncovered concerns over contracting practices, financial oversight, and internal controls, prompting university leaders to pledge greater accountability and transparency. Now, TSU is turning the page with a new chief financial officer. Jermaine Chubb brings more than 2 decades of experience leading financial operations across transportation, aviation, telecommunications, and infrastructure sectors. Chubb served as the Chief Finance Officer at VIA Metropolitan Transit in San Antonio, the Greater Toronto Airports Authority, Travel Wi-Fi, and the Houston Airport System. Stepping into this new role, his focus is on building sustainable systems that support the university's long-term success. Chief Financial Officer Chubb joins us to talk about the challenges ahead, restoring confidence in TSU's financial operations, and his visions for ensuring one of the nation's largest historically black universities and is positioned for a stronger future. Jermaine, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite. And, I hear that there are Emmy Awards, I believe, and so I thought that maybe I wasn't dressed good enough when I came over here.
And then you saw what I was wearing and you thought, I'm fine.
I got nothing on over here, so yeah.
I guess to start this conversation, for folks that haven't followed all of this, the concerns of the past, what were the issues that were of concern about finance when it came to TSU and how things were handled?
Yeah, and so, I believe that everyone can go out there and look at the state audit. But when I look at it, it all boils down to internal controls, right? And so we had issues in asset management, submitting financial reports on time, submitting things that were inaccurate. And so when you think accounting, you do not think of inaccuracy. You think timeliness when you think business and things like that. And so this is my main focus coming into the organization. I think that TSU made the right hire in hiring someone that is accustomed to actually doing things correct.
Yeah.
Right. And so, of course, I've been in organizations where I've made improvements and made a transformation, if you would, but this is just a more sweeping transformation. But when you think about it in that sense, you want someone that does the job well. Right. When you have a basketball team that doesn't perform well, you look for a championship coach. Right. He knows how to do things well. And so, I'm stepping into the organization with a new expectation, hiring new leadership, and also implementing things like a CFO scorecard that's going to have 21 points of internal controls that we're going to monitor on a monthly basis, just to ensure that we're doing things appropriately so that we don't wait until the end of the year or 5 years from now when someone decides to audit us again. We're ensuring on a monthly basis that we're doing things
You
appropriately.
have a checks and balances. And
absolutely.
Right
Let me
there.
take you back one more time, then we'll move forward looking, is when you look back at the issues they had, was it more of, and I hate this word, but it's the best one I can find, nefarious behavior or neglect of doing things properly? What do you, or is it another answer?
I mean, just speaking on that, I believe that you can see, by and large, as it relates to the state accounting audit, that it's more so just doing things inappropriately, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they found instances of fraud. In fact, there's a lot of good news in the same time frame, right? We have some individuals that believe that maybe from a financial position we're not doing so well because of this news. But if you look, we had our credit rating actually improved in fiscal year 24, I believe it was. And then it was confirmed a year later, right? And so we're doing good from a financial perspective. There's some things that certainly I would like to improve, and we're working on those things. But, state accounting audit, issues and controls versus do you have dollars to continue to operate and then achieve your strategic vision are two separate things. Of course, they do marry as well, because if you continue to have poor financial management, then you may miss some things, right? And so as I talk about the future, I'll talk about becoming a finance business partner to the organization, being able to look long-term, help them with decision-making and the like. Well, that is really built on the foundation of having a really strong set of financials, understanding trends. I cannot understand trends in my financials well if things aren't being recorded accurately.
When Deborah read a bit of your qualifications to be in this job, and when I look at that from transportation, telecommunication, different sectors you have worked in, at the end of the day, is all finance the same, balancing finance, or do different industries bring a different set of challenges, or is it all just numbers working out on that spreadsheet?
Right, and so I'll answer that in two parts. And so I recall coming to Houston in 2011, and I was speaking with a recruiter at that time, and I was leaving the automotive industry looking to get into oil and gas. And he would just talk about the fact that, recruiters are going to be looking for this experience. And I said, but all finance and accounting is the same, right? And so, recruiters are looking for that particular square peg that's, just really refined, and it can't have any edges that might cause any problems. So they're looking for that square peg. But what I found And when I joined the oil and gas industry, I stepped into an organization where within the first 6 months I was promoted, right? New industry for me. And then within another year, promoted to another role. And so then I left that industry after leaving another or going to another organization within oil and gas. I ended up going to the airport industry and got promotion in that particular industry within 18 months. And so I think that accounting and finance is accounting and finance. Yeah. There are nuances as it relates to different industries, but I'm a CPA, and what I tell people is that even the accounting rules within industries change. And so you just have to be someone that is adaptable.
When you look at TSU and what challenges or opportunities sit in front of you here, is it a fact of how you're going to allocate what they have, or is it a need to bring in more at this point?
Right. And so very good question. That's more so of from a finance perspective, right, and going away from the accounting issues. Mm-hmm. We certainly need to look at additional revenue streams. Mm-hmm. And so we're talking about doing more. Right, and so you need to look at what additional revenues might we be able to bring in order to accomplish those things, right? We have a $1.7 billion capital plan over the next 10 years, right? And so the revenues that we bring in on an annual basis won't allow us to go out and deliver that necessarily. So we do need additional revenues. We're working on that, diversifying our revenues. That's one thing a finance person like myself and my teams come into play is we can help an organization take a look at your capital plan. What capital projects do you plan on actually implementing? What's your certainty around the cash or the sources that you utilize to deliver that? But not also that. Like when this facility was built here, it's not just the cost of the facility that you need to be worried about. You have to operate it, mm-hmm. right? And so that's a difficult thing for many public agencies to, and I would say for-profit, nonprofit agencies, is to really understand, hey, I'm going to build out a new library in 5 years. What's going to be the cost of operating that library, right? And so I need the capital costs and operating costs to see what's the funding sources, is it affordable for the organization?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The other concern that I have, and we face this here also, is that when you depend on support from your community, you got to keep making sure that they support you and that money keeps coming in. At the same time, both our organizations have depended on government support. Ours was taken away, especially being a historic Black university, HBU, that there are new challenges out there in federal funding and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. How do you square this peg, or whatever the expression is, right, so that while you're losing in one area, you can build up in another? Are you losing in like government support because of the direction the administration's going right now? Or are there pockets that you can be going to and help and support you can get that help you get that balanced bottom line?
The answer is yes. And so
okay,
it's all of those things. And so, of course, in certain areas, we're seeing some reductions. However, you take a look at optimizing costs in all places, right? You always want to do that, even if revenues are strong. However, we certainly need to look at other ways that we can increase our revenues in other areas, right? State appropriation tuitions, those are our two largest revenue sources. We have right now the governor states that we can't raise our tuition rates, for an example. And so, of course, over time your costs go up, and so you're not necessarily keeping pace with rising costs if your tuition rates are flat. Barring the ability to go in, given existing facilities, and increase tuition, right? But at a certain point, you're going to need additional facilities to cover mm-hmm. the additional demand that you're having. And so we certainly need to think strategically, look at opportunities for our donations, for an example, look at all of our revenue sources, whether that's from our athletics program or any other source of revenues, to see how that might help us bolster our case for delivering on this $1.7 billion capital plan. And so, again, we're putting in place a capital committee right now. Finance is part, and that committee is really going to be understanding those finance sources, helping them understand how we might have certain approaches to actually delivering the capital projects as well. Because if you look, there are certain surveys out there that state that 90+% of capital projects go over budget, for an example, right? And so they're just talking about the capital budget. And we talked about the fact that you need to understand capital and operating expenses. And so there's a large part that we need to play just to ensure that the organization is thinking strategically right up front. Let's identify those revenue sources that we're going to actually bring in to deliver on this, but not only identify those sources, but make sure we have the right level of commitment to commit to the project.
Yeah.
If that makes sense to you.
You started off by talking about this checklist of things, I think you said monthly, that you're going to stay on top of. So it's not you wait until an audit to look at all this stuff, that you're staying with it. Is one of the biggest challenges you face walking into this position confidence, building back confidence in people when they've seen the idea of mismanagement or misappropriation or however we term it? Is that the biggest challenge, and is that what motivates you to making sure that you do have that monthly checklist?
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because we need wins, right? And so, let's just say you have a poor performing basketball team, right? The fans won't start coming and filling up the stands again until you start winning games, right? And so we need wins. We need consistent wins. In finance, we don't play a game of having a 5-5 season. We need a 10-0 season, right? And so I kind of went from basketball to more of a football schedule there. But
and I didn't even notice hit all the sports. I don't know.
But we need to get it right every single time, right? And our president talks about that, and I'm a firm believer in that myself. And so in order for us to get it right every single time, then we have to have controls in place where we're monitoring ourselves. We're making drastic changes where we need to make drastic changes. And so we're doing that as we speak. I came over here, I just left an interview talking with a gentleman about a particular role that we're bringing in that talks about all the controls that we're implementing now. And so I'm screening other individuals to see, as I look to bring them in, are you accustomed to having this type of environment in place? Because it needs to be in place. We're going to ensure it's in place. And I think even once things improve, we need to continue to have these types of controls in place.
That's what I was going to ask you. The people that you have on your team, do you handpick these people? Were people already kind of grandfathered in, and now you're with those, or is this your special handpicked team?
Yeah, and so I joined the organization on June 1st, and so
you're here a short time.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. And so right now I have 3 open roles. They're all leadership roles that essentially would be one layer between me and everybody else that's in my team right now. Mm-hmm. And so I would be handpicking the leaders. Certainly working with the existing team as well, making an assessment of talent and the like. Certainly you have individuals there that really understand the organization, the history there. They're making the adjustments as we talk about these new controls. Change isn't easy for anybody, I would say. Some people handle it better than others. And so I appreciate what the feedback that I'm getting from the team right now and the participation I'm getting from them.
I want to remind everyone that we are talking with Texas Southern University's new Chief Financial Officer, Jermaine Chubb. And if you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call, 713-440-8870. I am assuming that when you got the word that you had gotten this position, there was excitement, thrill, and all of that. But I'm curious, was there one part of it all where you thought, how am I going to crack this nut? Is there where was the challenge in it?
Where did you come from?
So, yes, and so I was in San Antonio via Metropolitan Transit. You mentioned that. So a transit organization. When I joined that organization, I went in. They didn't see themselves as having many problems. They did have a new incoming CEO, a new board chair that wanted to have some improved financial reporting. They thought that we might need to, so when we go to the board, it's July now. Historically, they would be reporting on May results because they were 2 months behind. Mm-hmm. So you close the books for a month, and then the next month you have a discussion with the board or some governing body. And so what I was challenged to do was we had a new board chair, and they said we want the latest and greatest information. So, okay, now I need to go in and take a look at improving the close process. And so they had a 16-day close process or so, and so I ended up in my first 90 days making that a 3-day process. Oh, wow. And at the same time improving the financial reporting to them as well. And so, but, that's transformation. Small, I would say. It's not a huge lift. Worked with the team, mapped it out, brought in everybody that was involved with the close process. We made a plan to do it. We got it done the first month.
Oh.
The very first month. And so really good collaboration there. But I guess I'm painting the story of, going back to your question, is that in this particular organization, of course, the transformation is much larger.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit funny. This is the first time I'm sharing it outside of my home. But my very first day, and I'm sure my workmates will see this, after the very first day, I kind of thought, what are you doing? Right? Man, what have you gotten yourself into? But that's the only time that I've ever thought about that. Every day since that day has been a great day. And I go back to, hey, you know how to do these things, right?
Yeah.
And so, just go in and implement it. And so that first day, though, was one that
So you really are a championship coach. I like that.
I like that, yeah.
I like that.
I'm going to use that.
There always needs to be, I think, that little worry in there to get you activated, to say, okay, yeah, I know I can just, oh, wait, what am I going to conquer?
You're right.
You know?
You're right. I'm sure books have been written about that.
I'm sure they have, and I'm sure there's a book in you, so I'm waiting to read yours.
Absolutely. I like that.
Jermaine, thank you for coming in and joining us today, and I can't wait to have you come back in a year and say, look at what we accomplished.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Told you I was going to do it, and
very exciting.
Show it.
Yes.
Jermaine Chubb is the Chief Financial Officer at Texas Southern University. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Houston.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, there's a lot more Hello Houston. Don't go anywhere. It's time for our last minute plans. We want to know what yours are. Share them with us starting now. We are in our on-air Resiliency Fund campaign, and today, as you may have heard, is the final day of this campaign. If you've been putting it off, well, we're coming to the end in just the next couple of hours. So here is the great news, though. Even if you've waited till this moment, this is the perfect time to give because we are offering a triple match. We need to hear from you right now in any amount that you can give to support us, because when you do, that gift will be, what did I say? Tripled. So choose any amount and show your support right now at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
And let me just mention that Houston heat isn't just uncomfortable, it can be dangerous, and you need to know when to slow down, check on your family, how to prepare. Our newsroom works to bring you that information with real care. Help us to keep doing that. Give now at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887. Your gift will be what? Tripled.
You know, as we keep talking about this Resiliency Fund and this particular break, I just want to remind you why we're having this mini drive that we popped up in. We did one of these last year, too. We did it immediately after we heard that the federal funding was cut to public broadcasting. So we felt a $2.2 million cut per year from the federal government. But that didn't mean we cut our services. It didn't mean we stopped existing. It meant we're going to continue to do what we're committed to do for our community, for every one of our listeners and those that watch us. But you know what? We need help to continue to do the work that we have come to be known for. So we reached out to you, and over the past year, we've continued to reach out in the Resiliency Fund to get back that $4.4 million. We are within reach of getting there right now, but we need your help. We're so close. We've only got a couple percentage points to go to have all of our funding restored thanks to the support of our community. And right now, if you give during a triple match, it means so much more. Go to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
And I want to say that we are deeply grateful to every member of our station. And when you give $1,500 or more each year, you'll make a big impact and join our studio society.
We'd love for you to do that right now. Go to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887. As we've said, every gift that comes in for the next 14 minutes will be tripled. Time is finally running out. We need to hear from you right now. Thank you.
It's not just your car. It's the one that brought your kids home from school, took you cross country, held memories, laughter, even a few breakdowns. When it's time to let go, give your car a new purpose. Donate it and turn memories into meaningful support for this station. Plus, you'll enjoy free and easy pickup, potential tax benefits, and a simple donation process. Your gift supports the programs you and your family love. Donate today and help keep public media strong. Call or donate online.
Your support for Houston Public Media powers the programs you trust and rely on. And your employer may help your contribution go even further. Many employers sponsor matching gift programs, doubling or even tripling employee contributions. It's an easy way to maximize your impact on the programs you rely on. Search for your company and get started today at HoustonPublicMedia.org/match.
PBS Drama on HPM+.
The twists you didn't see coming. The
Characters you can't stop thinking about. HPM Plus puts your favorite PBS series on demand, so you never have to miss a moment. Catch up on past seasons with Passport, or stream live whenever the mood strikes.
All your favorite shows.
Search HPM Plus on your smart and connected TVs. The next chapter is waiting.
On HPM Plus.
Tonight on Houston Public Media TV8, explore the early days of the space race and the enormous stakes in the quest to reach the moon. American Experience presents Chasing the Moon tonight at 8 on TV8.
Support comes from Miller Outdoor Theater, presenting Houston Shakespeare Festival, produced by University of Houston, July 30th through August 8th, starting at 8:15 p.m. The shows include The Tempest and Comedy of Errors. Details at milleroutdoortheater.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Ernie Manous and guest host Deborah Hope.
And we are back with you again. We've made it to last minute plans. I'm going to give you a moment to send those in to us at talk@hellohouston.org, or you can give us a call right now or text 713-440-8870. While you do that, really quickly, and they told me, keep the Mitzi Gaynor talk to a minimum.
Oh, that's just
We
sad.
brought her up. Who is Mitzi Gaynor? I'll give it to you in one line. Mitzi Gaynor was one of the last great stars of Hollywood's golden age of musicals. She was in such films as South Pacific, There's No Business Like Show Business, and Anything Goes.
And we mentioned Mitzi Gaynor because Joel Sandell had made the comment that Holland Vavra was our Houston's own Mitzi Gaynor.
And she is doing a show this weekend, which you may go back and see, which is called
Holland Vavra.
Great name for a show she's starring in, and that's happening at Stages. One of the things happening this weekend. Another cool thing that is happening this weekend is Texas Monthly's Taco Fest.
Oh.
I mentioned that because we love food around here and we love tacos, but at Discovery Green, they're hosting the Texas Monthly Taco Fest, where you can sample bites from 15 of the best taco spots in Texas, all featured in the magazine's 50 best tacos in Texas, because Texas Monthly puts out that list. So they've gathered together 15 of those best tacos, so you can try them all there. Yes, there's a ticket price to get in, but you know, kids under 5 get in for free. So if you don't want to pay for a ticket, just send your kids in. They'll bring you back samples.
Well, think of it this way. You pay $20 or so to get in, and you can have all of those tacos for
samples.
For the, yeah.
I love tacos, so I will be doing that. My weekend plans, of course, as always, my number one goal for the weekend is to clean out the garage.
Is that going to happen?
No, it never does. I say it every. It's kind of like, sorry, we didn't have time for Matt Damon on the talk show on Jimmy Kimmel. Well, that's how I feel. I'm going to clean out my garage. I'll be back next week to tell you how I'm going to clean out my garage again.
You're going to be cooking this weekend.
I'm going to cook. Yes, talking about food. I think my plan for the weekend is I'm going to make domades, which is Greek stuffed grape leaves.
Oh, you made that for me before.
I know. I love doing it.
Yeah,
But-
they're delish.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll be delish this time too. So that's my plan. Plans often go astray. Mr. Uncle Walt says, I'm going to finish reading the Odyssey so I can go watch the movie. Then he'll let us know what he thinks of it.
He's not going to see the movie until he reads the book?
Yeah, but he's like a third of the way through it already.
Wow. He's a fast reader.
He is a very fast reader. And I love that, you know. And I think that's the important thing of things like the movie The Odyssey, is that it drives you back to this classic work.
To the source.
And people
yeah.
should be doing that. What else is going? You know what today is? I love my national days. Today is National Tequila Day.
Tequila.
Yes, National Tequila Day, and the Social Beer Garden is offering house margaritas at a discount. 1,800 tequila cocktails for also a low price. We're not supposed to give prices on the air. Then at 10 p.m., enjoy some sunset session tunes by DJ MLE. And that'll be happening it's going on right now till 11:30 p.m. So that's cool at the Social Beer Garden. What else is going on? More last-minute plans. Share them with us. 713-440-8870. I kind of like this. Batman on the Bayou.
I love this.
Pop out of the waterworks in Buffalo Bayou Park for a free bat night. Woo. Celebrate all things batty with friends and family activities and nature education. Have you ever gone to watch the bats come out from under
For the very first time I did, I had a friend that was visiting from Scotland, and he was here, and I didn't know what to do, and I went, and it was sunset, and I went, I know exactly. We went to the bayou, and we sat down, and we watched the bats take off. It's a very cool thing.
Well, this one, as I mentioned, is going to take place at the Waterworks at Buffalo Bayou Park. There will be, even I'm hearing, a guest appearance by Batman himself.
I want
by
to bite your neck.
Yeah. That's a vampire.
That's a Batman, right?
No, Batman from Gotham City.
But you can't be a Batman unless you're a vampire.
I think we need a ruling on that one because it's going to be followed by a screening of Batman Returns. The event will run from 6 p.m. to 10:30. I do not think you'll run into Deborah Hope there. I think she's very confused who Batman is, which is rather shocking.
Well, as soon as you think of bats, you think of vampires, don't you?
Do you? And actually, I said that was tonight, and it's actually on Saturday night. Saturday night, you want to go there. What's happening on Sunday?
Oh, Sunday, I'm going back to food.
Okay.
There's Foodie Day Chinatown. You can visit Dim Sum King Express at 2 p.m. for a 3-hour guided 3-hour tour, a 3-hour guided tasting of the best spots in Asia Town.
Ooh,
there are tickets that are available, and they are available now. So check that out. I think that'd be very fun.
The Family Zone at the MFAH is hosting a wide range of kid-friendly activities.
And what is the MFAH?
Museum of Fine Arts, Houston.
Thank you.
Activities included in the museum admission, and tickets are free for children 12 and under. The event runs from 1 to 5 p.m. on Sunday. The best selling point about that, besides being at an art museum, is the fact it's air conditioned.
Yeah.
We'll always look for those. Big Three Basketball. Ice Cube's Pro Basketball League is hosting a 3-on-3 half-court showdown between the DMV Trilogy and the Miami 305. CMBA veterans Michael Beasley and Lauren Stevenson face off against former Indiana Pacer James Johnson.
It's Lance Stevenson.
Did I say the wrong name?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it is Lance Stevenson.
But I want to say that out of all of those words, I only understood the names.
Well, good, because I messed up the names, but I got the rest of it. Okay, Texas Elite Auto Showcase is happening all weekend long. You can visit the NRG Center for this weekend. You know what? I have a call on the line.
Oh, yeah.
I'll come back to that. 713-440-8870. Sam from Montrose. Sam, what are you doing this weekend?
Hi. So this weekend, I will be at the Children's Clothing Swap. It's at Silver Street Studios in Sawyer Yards. I'm hosting, and it's going to be a really amazing event. It's a 20,000 square foot warehouse, all indoors, unlimited clothing for kids, babies. All the families can come. It's a really great time.
Sam, you sound a little familiar to me. Were you just on the show earlier this week?
I was. I sure was. Ernie.
Sam, thank you for calling back to remind us of that great event. If folks can get out there, again, where can they learn more information?
So tickets are at cccswaps.com, and they can also go to our website, consciousconsumercollective.org, for more info.
Sam, thank you for reminding us and for sharing that information and for calling. And I want to thank everyone else who has been listening today. I want to thank you, Deborah Hope, for sitting in with me on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I have such a good time here.
It's always a joy to have you here with your sunny disposition. Even when we argue over movies like The Odyssey. You can always come back. In the meantime, remember, folks, you can catch the best of Hello Houston Saturdays at 1 p.m. or Sundays at 11 a.m. right here on News 88.7. Deborah, I said goodbye to you, but don't go anywhere because we've got a message for you right after the music plays.
Pick anything.
We are in the final days, and this is the final ask during Hello Houston for our on-air Resiliency Fund campaign. And your donation right now for the next, if I'm doing my math fast, a little over 3 minutes, just about 3 minutes, will be tripled do even more at a time when Houston Public Media really needs your help. We're in our first year without federal funding. That means we need you to maintain our strong community, and we need it with your community support. And the cool thing is, your help will be tripled right now. This triple opportunity is going to mean more dollars for Houston Public Media. So get your gift tripled right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or by calling 888-909-0887. I'm Ernie Manous.
And I'm Deborah Hope. And remember, you listen to this station. You already value what we do here. So take the next step. Make your first gift today. Becoming a member starts with just one gift. And right now, that gift helps fill in the gap left behind by the loss of the federal funding. We know that a gift like that goes a long way towards closing it. So make your gift today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
When you say goes a long way toward closing it, the good news is we've only got a short way to still go, and we will have closed that gap. But we need to hear from every one of you right now. If you've already given, of course, thank you very much for your support. If you're an ongoing supporter of the station, right now is the perfect opportunity to make an additional gift or increase your monthly support. You can do that at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or simply call 888-909-0887. But right now, right this very moment, for the next minute and a half, your gift will be tripled. Remember, if you get in before the time ends and the process begins, you're still fine. So don't worry if you go over the hour. But right now, if you needed that extra boost, this is what we need. We need you to make that call. Give right now at any amount that you can. Take advantage of the triple match. It's not going to last forever. No, it's running out of time very fast. So for us to hear about your gift right now during Hello Houston, I need you to get on the phones or log in, houstonpublicmedia.org/donate, or give us a call, 888-909-0887. Do it right now and support this station.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menjivar, Jen Altai, Todd Holslander, and Jim Kavachik. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Alley Theater, celebrating its 80th year with a season honoring 8 decades of live theater, storytelling, and artistic innovation. Season information at